been a while, but it's your boy Kamal Hart on the chart, and I'm about to go bar by bar. We've all been sitting at home quarantined, and I had a little time today, so I think it's a good day to just break down um, mainly the increased volatility in the markets, because it's really crazy to see these 100-point moves up and 100-point moves down. It's insane. Um, So I want to talk about that increased volatility and kind of how I'm trading in these markets, and especially when it's moving so far and so much. How do you project out price levels and set expectations and stuff like that? So we'll still go over trades that I see. I'm not gonna do the full day because I trade tick charts. I usually do 2,000 tick charts, but those bars are so huge. They blow up risk management strategies pretty quick. But so I'm down to 500 ticks, meaning there's 4 times more bars than usual. So it's going to take all day to talk about every trade. But I'll go through the first hour or two, and there's plenty in that alone to use. So when I walked up this morning, or when I got to the desk this morning, it's probably a little earlier than when I got to the desk. Let's say I got here around 5:30. That's about right. So we kind of had a leg down in the pre-market and then a huge leg up. Wow. Of course, when we're doing the video, that's when someone holds their horn for 5 minutes. But there was a leg down and then this huge kind of leg up. So, walking up this morning, I think you're trying to get a feel for the sentiment. You're trying to get a feel for, you know, where are we headed to next. Um, this is such a huge leg that I think I'm gonna look at this kind of like that and say that we had a trend there and see how it fits pretty nice on the other side. That's a good sign. So we kind of had like a trend. It broke out and then it moved to a new high. So at this point, you would be expecting a reversal. I mean, you're expecting all sorts of things. It just really depends on the market when it opens. Um, about an hour out from the open. So let's zoom in and we're going to start actually looking at it bar by bar. So at this point, with that breakout and a move to a new high, I'm seeing a kind of like a channel right there. And this is just a bear channel moving down. And I like how that fits off the low. It's got kind of like 3 touches off the low, so I like how that fits. It's not as confirmed on the high side because we only have 2 touches. So I'm gonna wait to see what we get a setup on, or like what type of setup we get when we get back up there. That looks like a kind of a good trade, but it's a failed second entry long off this double top. First entry fails, second entry, if that fails, we go short. Um, I like to wait for it to get to my other side though, so I'm gonna skip that. But there's a little setup in there. Doesn't go far enough to get the scalp, so you would have lost. And that's why it's really important to wait for it to get to this other side of the channel. Um, your best trades are going to be off this channel line. I'll just tell you that now. See, but now that we shot through that EMA and we're closing above, um, you should at least have a micro trend there. So I'm still bullish on this, but I want to see prices break out of this micro trend, maybe make a new high, and then start to reverse. That's what I'm looking for. And you can see it's definitely breaking out. And with that bar, it kind of made a new high. we're not convinced yet, so let's just wait to see what happens if we get a lower high on the way down or something. But you can see it's definitely breaking out, and there's probably a new high right there. It's for sure a new high there. So I'd say that's a new high. So now we're on guard, see if it's going to reverse. And it actually kind of gave another leg higher. So I'm going to look to measure leg one. I'll probably have a target up here, leg two. That's all I did. Just go from the low to the high, bring it over to the swing point. That's our bull target for this kind of like measured move over here. Goes back. That's a higher low off this low. This low is lower than this low, which swung, right? So that's a higher low. Um, if you don't understand how to, what is a higher low or what's a failed second entry, go back to the other videos. I talk more in depth about how to see them in the other videos. In this video, I really just want to focus on the trade and keep it moving because I don't have time to explain every day or every video, what's a second entry or, it's, I've talked about it in the previous videos. So here's the higher low. Not a good signal bar though, so we're not going to buy that. Then boom, right here's the failed second entry short. Off this low, went higher, fails, went higher, fails. Once it breaks above right there, I went long. Just a standard setup. Now, when I entered this trade, I started to realize how sideways the market really is right here. So that kind of made me not as convicted in this trade, which is why I didn't enter this trade on full size. I entered this trade on half size, just because of the congestion. But since we had so much bullish sentiment, I was just thinking that even though we're stuck in some congestion right now, we'll probably still drift higher, at least to the highs. So I was confident that if I just hold this trade, I should be okay. And my stop was just one tick below this red bar, just one tick right there. That's what my stop was, and my target was I had two targets. My first target was the scalp, and that was the highs. And then my runner target was this measured move or the high of day. Let's take some time. You can see right there the price action still saved me. It never broke below. Came pretty close, but it never broke below. So I was still good on that trade. And now it's starting to actually go in our favor. And then we get the scalp. So that was, I wouldn't say this was like the easiest trade, but it didn't take too long. I got the scalp right there. And this is kind of a testament to focus because my plan for this trade was to exit at the highs. And we're getting close to the open at 6:24. So, 6 minutes to the open. And I was on my Slack answering other questions for other trades, and I left the screen for a couple of minutes. And when I got back, it had tested the highs and pulled back like this over here. So I missed my exit. You know, I missed my exit. So at this point now, I'm looking at this trade and like, okay, so I missed my exit. Where should I exit now? And I figured if it's going to keep trending, that would be great. So I just had my stop underneath this red bar, one tick. I was going to swing trade it, and it didn't want to give it to me, which is funny because I get stopped out, and then it sets up a second entry long off this high. First entry, once it breaks above this bar, you want to buy. Now, the signal isn't great, but it, there's a lot of bullish momentum. So, and once again, I trade tick charts, so you're seeing these bars. This is not time based, these are order based. So this red bar was 630. This green bar here is 631. So all this happened within a minute. So these bars are like 20-second bars. It's moving really fast in here. So once it broke above, I was pretty sure we were at least going to come test the high again. Now, um, I got stopped out on the runner, and I missed the entry, the re-entry right there. So I missed that one. I was like, oh darn. And then I got the higher low here. This is a good higher low. Remember we were talking about a higher low back over here. You can see how the signal bar here is bearish. But look at this signal bar. It's engulfing. It opens, it broke lower, and then closed on its very high. That's a good sign. So I again wanted to enter there, um, and that one did pretty well, but it moved too fast. I missed my entry, and for whatever reason, I entered up here, and it's a late. I'm chasing this entry. It was a late trade, um, not a good trade, pretty much. So it pulls back. I have my stop, I think, a tick before the low, just a basic money management stop. I felt like if this pulls back all the way to here, it's probably going to tick through. So there's no need to move my stop underneath this candle. Really, this play is momentum, so it needs to turn by the next bar. Otherwise, this is probably going to be a loss. And it doesn't turn, I lose. So everything I made here, I gave it back on this kind of stupid trade. But the day is young. I'm just break even on the day. It's like I'm at zero, so it's not really a big deal. So we have a trend moving higher, right? You might even want to put a channel in there. I wasn't using this channel in my session, um, but you can see that there's some sort of slow bullish leg right there. So as we start to trend down, though, I'm going to say, well, we got to get a micro trend on that. And we got to see what types of setups it gives us. Like here, when it breaks below, that's going to be our lower high. But you can see how these bars are like super sideways. So that might not be a good place to take a short. But it works. And then here's where I took my short. Now at the time, it um, if you think about what this bar looked like, it broke above, it came back down, then broke below. So that's a failed second entry long. And then as it broke these lows, it pulled back a little bit. I just entered on a limit order on these closes in the open. But then before the bar closed all the way, it came all the way back up. So it kind of did like a triple reversal sort of thing. So I was already in before this bar closed. So on the close, I was kind of like, that's not looking super great. But my stop was up here on this swing. So I just had to let it play out. And you can see that the price action protected me. It never came above there. And now it's starting to go in my favor. And then here is really somewhere where I wanted to add on. Um, if I made a mistake, I probably made a mistake here. I should have added more contracts here, just because it got another sort of failure trap pattern. But I just wanted to see what would happen. So for this, I just had a scalp target somewhere over here, and then I had my running target was these lows over here, because at this point, it kind of looks like a range. I don't have a clear high yet. Kind of in this area, you can see that there's some resistance, but I don't really have support. Technically, I do have support, but I don't think it's particularly clear. So my runner target was just somewhere in this area for now. Um, there goes my scalp target, and it just runs down, and that I got my runner down there. So that's a pretty nice trade. Um, I was into that. And looking at this, I mean, it's kind of after the fact, but you know, leg one was right there. Then we get that breakout. So once we started to break out and move lower, so probably on this um, on this bar when it broke there, I'd bring the arrow over. Boom. That'd be my measured move target. And you can see I actually got pretty close to that. I got that exactly. I didn't even do that during the day. I just kind of intuitively was looking to the left and I saw that we were at these supports or getting close to the supports. And I just exited. I didn't need necessarily every tick, but perfect exit to the measured move. So that's a pretty good exit right there. Then we get this kind of big green bar. Could be a reversal bounce. And when it makes that higher low, I'm more confident that it is a bounce. So I'd get a line on there like that, and you can see how it bounces perfectly off that. And for the highs, I'm just gonna cut the highs so I can get the most touches. So it'd be probably there. Close is usually close enough. And then for the midline, I'd say the midline is there, just about. Let's just make it dotted so it looks cool. So at this point now I feel like, okay, we're trading a range. So you want to start buying. This is a pretty good buy setup actually. It's a higher low off the lows of a range now. You're looking for it to test the EMA and then come at least to the midline and then hopefully come to the other side. So I would say buying there is a pretty good buy. Um, it it doesn't stop you out, so you're good. And then here's another good buy right here. This is the failed second entry, but it's a little sideways. So I feel like if you were in here, that makes a lot of sense. If you're in here, it's a little sideways, so you've got to be a little concerned. Maybe you don't take a full size position because of the stack up. But both of these trades those are the types of trades we're looking for at the lows of the range, just to come test this midline at least. You get the bounce, cool. And this is what I was waiting for because I kind of wanted to see it move past this EMA before I committed to it. Um, this probably isn't going to look the way I want it to. It's probably a trend through there, possibly. And off the highs, it's probably there. It's a little tight, but something like that. So for me, I was looking for a trade. Once we broke above this green bar, I wanted to get long. Um, I didn't take it, but I took this one. So I would have been cool going long there. So when I took this trade, there were kind of two ideas going on because all these are buys, a lot of nice buys. Off this low, this is the higher low, and that's the failed second entry. But then they made a double bottom, so this becomes a new low. This is the higher low again, because a new low we just counted as one, so this is count one. The higher low, then when it breaks below, then breaks above, here's our failed second entry again. So that's where I took the long. It's right off this this little mini trend line or trend channel. Um, and once again, targets are I think just before the midline, and then my runner, hopefully it's going to come all the way up here. Um, oh, it's a little after the midline. That's cool. You have to ride that pullback. You know, a good note with that pullback, when this pullback happened, I actually started to get a little nervous. I thought maybe the trade would fail. But it's interesting that as we got to that EMA, you can see that we got the wick. and that gave the buying pressure. And of course, you see the bar as it's completed. But if you would have seen this bar when it was actually forming, once it opened, it ticked lower just a bit, and then with force, it kind of started moving higher, and that let me know that the EMA was going to act as support before it even closed super bullish like that. But it's a little something I saw today especially when you're holding a runner or swing trading. It's like looking for that EMA strength. So now I'm just holding my runner, we're pulling back, and I get stopped out. This stop out was just break even. I have my stop. When I hit my scalp, I have my stop at break even plus one. So it was just sitting at break even plus one, and it came back and hit it. I'm not gonna lose money on a runner, even if my swing is down here. It's either going to be a break even or the swing has to be a little bit higher for me to start to move it up. So it's kind of how that trade went. And those were all my main trades on my live account. And then after I hit my trading goal, I switched over to the to like a sim account just to keep the reps going. I forget which trades I took on the sim account though, so we'll kind of see them as they set up. Here's a little second entry long. See off this high, first entry, pullback, second entry. It's not looking too great because it pulled back all the way there, but that's a trade right there as well. Um, and if we want to get a target, because of course our targets are going to be the other side of the channel, but sometimes a more accurate target is just going to be a measured move. So that's leg one, and here's the low of our breakout. So that's possibly leg two, and you can see how that just fails. It doesn't even work. And the target's only just a little bit higher. Now this leg could still be in effect, so we have to wait and see if it plays out. I think the only thing, let's go back to this trade. Only thing that would have kept you out of this trade, um, and it might not have even kept you out of the trade, but it would have let you know that it's risky, is that we have this big bar and then this one opens and closes within this one, the first one, and then on this doji it's inside this bar. So we have two inside bars. Really, that's just like a really small trading range, really small trading range, and it's not always a good idea to enter on. See, if you look at that, you're basically buying the middle. It's not that great of a setup, to be honest. Now we're starting to get that push higher. So if this is actually a real push higher, I would just move my measured move down to there, and let's see if we get like a higher low or something. There's a higher low. Not a great setup just because of the signal bar right there. It's not that great. And then right there, I like that one though because that's the failed second entry, and that's a good setup. Off this low, once fails, second time fails, boom, should go long right there. And then you have a target up here somewhere. So we're going to see how that does. Almost perfect. Boom, right there. So you would have easily hit that target, and then now you're going to wait to see if we can get back up here. Not quite. And if you're holding that runner, you probably already have your exit because it's a swing lower right there, and you're closing below the EMA, or moving below the EMA. So I'd probably be exiting on this bar, somewhere in this bar. Um, that might be all this market's giving you for that. And since we have our trend, a breakout, move to a new high. Once it gets below the EMA and swings lower, I want to give it like a micro trend line. Just see All I really want to see, even though I still might be bullish on this, all I want to see is it break out, move to a new low, or it breaks out and creates a reversal pattern and keeps going. So like you get the higher low right there, but then right there you get a second entry short. It's right into that EMA, so that's not a great setup. But you can see off this low once, and then it gives you this nice bear signal bar. It's a good signal bar. That thing shoots off, so you might have really considered taking that short. You just had to have seen it kind of like that. But the main focus is, like I said, is handling this volatility. Um, if you notice, typically I trade the ES. I'm on the MES nowadays, just because I can keep my risk about the same as normal. Um, so that volatility isn't really affecting my trading. Um, but then the other point that I wanted to focus on with this video is just projecting targets. So for this leg, that's leg 1, pull back, leg 2. See right there, that's a failed second entry short off this high. First entry, second entry. I don't know how this trade does beforehand, but I'd be cool going short right there. Probably just see if it's going to hit the midline. It does. It hits the midline. Cool with that short. That one keeps going too. So at this point, you can tell we're in a range. It's pretty obvious now that, okay, this is a range. So you have to wait to try to get short at the highs and buy at the lows. So when we're here, not too many trades that I'm really looking for. I mean, there might be setups. I don't know if I advise taking the trade though, if that makes sense to y'all. And then it's even with this, it's pretty hard to figure out where the channel is, because you could draw the channel off these first two swings, but that doesn't help you much, if at all. If I bring it down, it's already broken through it, right? So that doesn't really help you much. And the next best thing is to draw it off the lows. But once again, if you connect those lows, you can already tell that doesn't help you much. So you just have to wait and see kind of where this thing is going and see how it just shoots down like that. It's a breakout. So I would just go from the most recent and try to get as many of these as I can, like there, and just replay this over. So I want to see it break out and then, go lower. There's that breakout that we're talking about. Here's kind of a good trade. Second entry short to the lows. It's a lower high off this high. You just want to see if it's going to come back down to there. So I would like going short right there. And that gives you plenty. Boom, right there. Good trade. And honestly, because I guess that's another thing on the volatility note is that, okay, so there's a lot of volatility in the market. Should I be trading more? I don't think so. I think the volatility is a gift, meaning if you miss a trade, you can feel confident that you will for sure see another trade soon. But I don't think that if your money management or your profit goal is $200 or $300, I would stay with that. I would not basically overtrade. I wouldn't overtrade because the market is volatile. Um, just too many ways to lose money doing that. Um, so yeah, even though I'm calling out all these trades, truly after my fourth or fifth trade, and that already happened back over here, um, I would be done for the day. There's no reason to just keep trading this. You're just more likely to make mistakes. Um, so we're working down. I want to see this scissor low. This is a reversal, failed second entry long, but we're so close to that, those lows. That's not a good place to go short. So let's see if we get a bounce. Maybe a false breakout. Let's see if we get the lower high or the higher low. See right there how it gave us this bull bar and then kind of reversed. That's telling us that maybe this bear trend is stronger than we thought. And now you can see that I can connect a couple swings. One swing, two, three. That might be a good channel that we can use. And this is like the main thing I wanted to kind of go over with this video. So it's okay, once we have the range, now it looks like we're getting some kind of breakout. How do I determine where this might go next? Um, I know some people will just look left and look for support and use support as their next target. You know, there's one there and there's probably another one down here. What I like to do, what I was taught to do, is let's measure this first range like that. And then once we break out, I want to take it down just one level. And I'd have my next support level somewhere over here. So I just make an equidistant range and see if when it does break out and if we commit to this trend channel on the way down, that's what we're going to be looking for. So let's see where we're at. And you can see we're starting to we made that little higher low, but none of these are setups you would buy yet. I think I bought that on a sim account. I was kind of forcing a little bit. I was thinking that we'd bounce, but like if you were listening to what I just described, you would know that maybe that's not a good trade. And it loses, so that was not a good trade. And then here's the lower high, but this bar is too big. I want to enter down here, and then the signal's too bullish. I want to enter when it breaks below, so you just got to wait. See, but I like this one because off this high, first entry fails, second entry fails, boom, we're gonna hop in right there, and we're gonna go short on the on that break below. Easy money, super easy money. Now for my runner target, where would I exit my runner target? In theory, I would love to exit that runner target down here, just swing trade it all the way down. That's a pretty big target, so you might not go for that. My next exit would be possibly this would be leg one, and I'm sure this is going to get us almost to the same spot. So you might just swing trade it on the way down and just see where it gets you. Yeah, I mean, that pretty much, they both get us to the same spot. So my target is down here for my runner. What we're going to do is we're just going to swing trade it. If it swings above a previous pivot, that will be our exit. If it doesn't, we're going to try to ride it all the way down. It's right there, swings lower, like that, holding. I exited there. Not the most disciplined exit, but yeah, I can't really say that that was a good exit. I should have just waited. We'll see. And it keeps going just a little bit. And so we got another leg down, and now we're kind of pulling back again. And boom. So I really would have gotten stopped out right there. So my exit was better than where I would have been stopped out. And I think here's why I was willing to exit is just because if you really look at this chart, we have this channel, and then when we break out, all of these trades are risky. Like this trade is pretty aggressive because we already broke out and made a new low. So every time we push lower, there's a higher chance that we're going to pull back. And especially down here, we're a little bit overdue to come touch the EMA, at least. At least. We could still head lower, but at least that pullback to the EMA, that's what's going to really convince people to sell once we get that kind of like a reset. So not the most disciplined exit, but it was a better exit than what I would have had I have just followed the swings. So you just gotta like take it how you get it sometimes and keep it moving. So truly, at this point, there's a just a little micro trend there. All we want to see is a breakout, move to a new high, or a reversal. Just two attempts to go higher that fail. And I went long there. I don't know if that was. I think I just went long because it was a second entry long. Just off there, off this high. First entry, boom. Second entry. I didn't have an expectation for it to go particularly far, just a scalp or something. And once yeah, this one was interesting because I bought that, and then my target was literally one tick above. It was right there. And when I saw it turn red after missing it by one tick, I don't know if it was instinct. I think it's just knowing the market that if it turns one tick away from your target, that's usually not a good sign. So once it broke below, I exited. I didn't want to fool around and wait for it to come back. Um, and then plus back to what I was saying, this is our micro trend. We had to break outside, and we already made a new high. So at any moment, we're expecting this thing to continue lower or just reverse. Um, we're less concerned about this leg and just more concerned about the price action in terms of you get trends, they break out, they make new highs, and then they reverse. If you look all through this chart, that's all it's been doing all day. A trend broke out, new high, reversed. It didn't do that here because we were still in this range and we were establishing the range. And that's usually the key. If it doesn't break out, make a new high, you're probably in the range. But you zoom in. Once we had that range established, there was a trend, breakout, move down, reverse. Trend, breakout, move higher, reverse. Trend, breakout, you get it. So it does that over and over and over and over. So that's why I wasn't down to just hold this and see what's going on. It looks like I can see the future, but you really can't. You really never know. It could have broke above and shot up. You really don't know. You just have to use the probability, and my probability said that this is a good place for it to probably continue lower. And another thing to keep in mind, this is just a micro trend. We're not necessarily expecting this to be some giant bull leg up, and we still have our measured move target down here. And in terms of just price structure, I won't say that you're expecting it to come here, but I've noticed that if you measure that range and then move it down or move it up, it oftentimes will go touch that line. So most of my expectations were we still need to get down here at some point. So I think I'm just going to let this go until we um, either get a touch and then I'm going to get out of here. But I just wanted to really focus on how do you project your trades, especially in a market like this when you're getting all these big moves. It's really great if you got short here, you could just hold this trade. You just hold this trade all the way. You can make a lot of money just holding these trades. So it's important to get good at projecting out measured moves and seeing how price move. So breakout, move to a new high. Once we close below the EMA and made a lower high, I just want to get a line just like that right there. Same things over and over. And that's really why I don't like doing these videos, because I feel like a broken record repeating myself over and over. But that's all it is. Here's kind of our reversal pattern off this high. First attempt to go higher fails. And then here's our second attempt to go higher. That's a pretty good signal bar. It's the first breakout of this little micro channel. We're going to expect it to come to the lows and then possibly come to these lows and then our range a little bit lower than that. I don't know how it does. It might, yeah, that one, you probably just got enough for the scalp. Yeah, just enough for a scalp, your first target. Everything else you would have been exited at break even. Um, that leads me back to this idea of, okay, now there's a micro trend going that way. You can see how choppy it's getting in this area. Right there, you can see we had that micro trend breaks out, new high, and then now we're moving lower again. It's pretty choppy in here. That's why I don't want to spend 3 hours doing the entire day, because it's just this all up and down for 5 hours. So that's our first breakout, but that's just the first entry. It's an inside bar. See how this bar is inside of the range of this bar. It looks pretty nice, but it's not that great of a setup. They're not always that reliable. I just would wait, and you can see it. It would have stopped you. So if I have a micro trend and then it doesn't play out, it makes a higher high. A couple things could be going on. There could be a channel. Could be a channel like that. This fits okay, so we'll just use that. But it's already, breaking the price structure. So once you kind of use this and then it's like, well, it's sitting outside of my channel, then, don't be afraid to just get rid of it. I would just get rid of it and then make a new one. Just make it closer to the most recent price action. So it'll probably be something like that now. There it goes. And you can see how it broke out, but it didn't give us that reversal pattern yet, right? It was the first attempt, it failed. So if we break below any of these bars, that would be what we're looking for, like there, boom. That's that reversal that we're looking for. And, to be honest, I was trying not to say it, but we all know what this is. It's a range. Um, there's probably the highs there, and another set with lows probably somewhere in there. Just a range. So it's just, you want to short it up here. You probably would have shorted that reversal pattern. I would have shorted. I still do y'all a solid since we haven't quite gotten there. So like we were saying, there's a reversal pattern right here when it breaks below. But then right here, that's the second entry short off this low. First entry, second entry. That's a pretty good trade. And you're going to have your scalp target, and then your other target's going to be on the other side of the range. So you just want to let that play out. And you probably get stopped out break even on the runner. That's life sometimes. And it resets up and goes short. There's another entry right there, but we're just going to let that slide. Really what I want to see, I don't even know if it will at this point, but I want to see if it comes down to this line down here. Okay, there it goes. And then you have another little trend right there. Oh man, see, that's what I wasn't trying to do. But basically, we ended up making it to this line that we had this line waiting since up in here, right? And that's the thing with these projections, that even though you have a measured move target, you don't know how the market will get there. It rarely just shoots straight down. You know, when it was real time, when it was doing all this trending and ranging, you might have switched up your idea and maybe thought, oh, it's not going to make it, or oh, I don't know what you might have thought, but you have to be really patient. I would just be really patient with this because the market structure and the price action will work, but it rarely works the way you think it will. So you have to be open to the possibility that it's going to range for a little bit and then start to move lower. And then you got to see it a little bit when I clicked the forward button. But what I think is most interesting about that price target isn't so much that, oh, I found the price target, which that's cool. All these shorts, you would have had a really nice target and a nice win. But I think what's most important is that you can see that it bounced. That's where it bounced, right? So when it reached this level, of course, it kind of broke out, gave a couple false breakouts. And, if you really look at this, like, let's just really look at it. I'm pretty sure I thought I just saw like one trap. But so let's say, okay, now that we reach this, our sentiment now is, we want to buy. And you have this trend, it breaks out, moves to new low. And this trend is now the micro. So here's a micro right there. And then see, like, that's the higher low. You would buy that. That one does you pretty good. Doesn't go super far. Here's the reversal. I think that one fails. I don't know if there's a way to avoid this failure other than the trigger is an inside bar. It's not that good to enter on inside bars. We talked about the inside bar. Just I forgot exactly where. Yeah, over here. See that inside bar? Same sort of thing. It's not as reliable. So that's how you would have avoided that trap. And then see right here, you get that reversal. So now you're like, okay, maybe it is like a range because it doesn't play out. So, the highs are here and the lows are here. Just I'll just move these over for now. So now you're like, okay, maybe this is a range, but that doesn't really change your trade idea because you're just gonna wait and see if you can buy it down here and see how it works its way, but it doesn't even get that far. And then boom, look at this. You have the trend break out, move to a new low. Then you get the movement in the other direction, like there. So that's my new trend. Here's my reversal pattern. Now, this trade I think you would skip just because we're so close to these highs. Now, it's not that bad because we don't have too many recent places of resistance. But I would skip this and just wait. Let's see if it breaks out, pull back, and if this becomes support, then I want to buy. Because really, when you zoom in, you're like, oh man, I'm gonna miss a good trade. But you got to remember to look left. Like if this thing breaks out, pulls back, and it becomes support, I mean, you're still looking to trade up to this midline and maybe up to the highs. So that's still a really, really big target still. So, I guess that's another point with the high volatility is don't get caught up um, so zoomed in. See, if I zoom in like this, you think, this is a massive move. This move is so influential and everyone is making their decisions based off of this move. And it's fair to think that if you're trading it this close. But, every couple minutes, remember to zoom out and look at the overall day. And then you realize, oh, wait, that's nothing. all this price action up here is still valid as well. So that's another thing. When it's super volatile, just remember to zoom out, get a full picture of your day. What I like to do is I like to just go to the pre-market. I just, like my pre-market so I can just see everything on the day. And when you see everything on the day, you get a little bit better of a picture of, oh, okay, it makes sense that this could start trending up from here. And you don't get caught thinking that this is the most bearish thing in the world because it's really just a range. It's just a range. So yeah, it starts to move up, and you can see right there. See how it like you get that breakout, and then you start. It doesn't quite make it to the line, but you start getting that support. That's what you want to see. See if you would have bought. That's literally where I bought on another sim account. That's literally what I'm talking about. We broke out. We came back. I waited for an actual entry. So off this high, first entry, boom, second entry, I bought. Easy trade, easy money. And had I managed the runner a little different, I probably would have exited here just because it's a bearish bar at what used to be resistance. There was a breakout trend. Usually when there's a breakout trend, we're gonna test this EMA pretty hard. I really prefer to see it more, I guess more like this, where you see how you get a couple swings. I like seeing a couple swings because that lets me know that the sellers are getting a chance and they're failing. But when it breaks out like this, the sellers are going to come back pretty strong, and they do. They do. I ended up getting stopped out barely better than break even. So I really would have exited maybe here or something. But yeah, we're not going to do the full day, like I said. I feel like just in this alone, there's been a lot of information, a lot of crucial information, not just the cookie cutter stuff that you see on YouTube to like get you to buy a course. If you really take what I'm talking about and go apply this to any chart, go trade Google, go trade Roku. It doesn't matter. These principles will be there. Um, so that's pretty much all I got. You can see it's bouncing, and look, we're on an uptrend. And that uptrend, does it go all the way to the highs? Let's see. It doesn't quite make it to the highs, but see, all this was, full day. That's what I got, man. It's been a great time trading. It's also a little hard if you're not super experienced. So trade small. Trade small. Make sure you take your stops, because imagine like if you know if you go short here and you don't take that stop, I mean, you're gonna have to ride 17, 30. You're gonna ride 20 points, and eventually, it did it did go lower, but you don't want to ride 20 points. Your account can't survive a 20-point drawdown. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Great trading day. I'll see if I do maybe another video this week. If I see another sort of idea that is important, I'll do a video to break it down. But me just showing you my trades, it's kind of like if you watch my old videos, it's pretty much the same thing over and over and over and over. And then there's a guy, Price Action Trading System. He does videos every day except Friday. He's who I learned everything from. I learned everything from him, and then over the years, I made my own style to what he does. But if you do want to see daily videos and all that, just go check out his channel. He's got that on lock. Cool. That's it, man. It's your boy Kamal Hart. I'm out. Peace.